Ramana Maharshi's profound wisdom shines in talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. This Ramana clip is from a longer video from Richard Clarke as he comments on the talk.
I'm Richard. Welcome. I'm reviewing and commenting on the book Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Today is from Talk 172. The questioner, Lord, how can the grip of the ego be slackened? Maharshi, by not adding new vasanas. This was a short talk with deep meaning. In this dialogue, the questioner is seeking guidance on loosening the grip of the ego. The question is, how can the grip of the ego be slackened? Ramana Maharshi responds with a concise yet profound insight by not adding new vasanas to it. The term vasana refers to the latent tendencies or impressions left in the mind by past experiences and desires. These tendencies shape our thoughts, behaviors, and reactions. They act as a sort of conditioning that deeply influences how we perceive and interact with the world. Now, these vasanas are predominantly desire-driven and rooted in the egoic sense of self. They contribute to the perpetuation of the illusion of individuality or separateness. In other words, they strengthen the ego's hold on our awareness. They contribute to our misidentification. Misidentification is wrongly identifying yourself with something you are not, like the body, mind, or ego. Instead of recognizing your true nature as the unchanging, infinite consciousness, Atman, we identify with the ever-changing, transient aspects of ourselves, such as the body, thoughts, and emotions. The misidentification arises when we believe ourselves to be the sum total of our experiences, roles, and possessions, and reinforce the illusion of a separate and distinct individual. This misidentification is at the root of suffering, says Advaita Vedanta. Vasanas and misidentifications are intimately linked. The desires and tendencies embedded in the vasanas are centered on the ego and perpetuate misidentification with the ego. The ego is driven by desires and conditioned by vasanas. Ego makes us believe that we are this limited individual, separate from the rest of existence. Of ego, Ramana says that the ego gains strength and influence by the accumulation of these desires. So when Ramana says, by not adding new vasanas to it, he's saying that a key to weakening the ego lies in not fueling it with fresh desires. Ramana said in another talk, illusion will not persist after vasanas are annihilated. So recognizing vasanas and removing them are the key to self-realization. Vasanas play a significant role in the pursuit of happiness. They represent the conditioned patterns of thinking and desiring that influence our choices and actions. The search for happiness often involves seeking to fulfill desires rooted in vasanas. These desires create a framework through which you seek satisfaction. The ego, driven by these desires, constantly seeks happiness outside in relationships, achievements, or possessions. The mind churns, looking for where it can find happiness. When a thought rises, seemingly out of nowhere, it is driven by vasanas and our search for happiness. Ramana Maharshi's teachings guide us to recognize the impermanence of external sources of happiness. They never bring happiness that lasts, which is what we want. Ramana emphasizes self-inquiry and understanding your true nature beyond the ego, beyond the body and the mind. The ego, fueled by vasanas, seeks fulfillment in the external world, creating a perpetual cycle of desire, pursuit, and temporary satisfaction. To break free from this cycle, we're encouraged to inquire into the nature of desires. By questioning the source of desires, investigating the misidentification at its core, and recognizing the fleeting nature of external happiness, you can begin to untangle the grip of vasanas. The practice of mindfulness and self-awareness becomes critical in this process. Advaita Vedanta suggests that true and lasting happiness is not found in the external world, but in realizing the unchanging, eternal nature of the self, Atman. This is yourself. The misidentification with the ego, driven by vasanas, creates a sense of lack that propels the search for happiness outside yourself. The teachings advocate cultivating inner happiness, not dependent upon external circumstances. It's not really cultivation, but coming to see the happiness that is already there. Detachment from the outcomes of desires and actions, along with a shift in focus from the transient pleasures to what is within, forms the essence of this transformative journey. The connection between vasanas and the pursuit of happiness lies in the conditioned nature of desires. By understanding the role of vasanas and engaging in self-inquiry, you can gradually shift from seeking happiness externally to realizing the enduring joy that comes from recognizing your true nature beyond the ego. Ramana Maharshi's teachings and the wisdom of Advaita Vedanta propose that breaking this cycle involves understanding the nature of vasanas and addressing the misidentification with the ego. By engaging in self-inquiry, and questioning the source of desires, you can unravel the conditioning created by vasanas. Through practices like self-inquiry, discrimination, and meditation, you can cultivate the awareness needed to recognize the misidentification and gradually shift your sense of identity from the ego to the unchanging, eternal self. The journey involves untangling yourself from the web of desires, recognizing the transient nature of the egoic self and realizing your true nature. It's a transformative process that leads to liberation, moksha, according to the teachings of Advaita Vedanta. In this dialogue, Ramana gives a clear prescription for those seeking to weaken the ego. Address the root cause by not adding to the fuel to the fire of desires. This talk, though brief, gives deep teaching. It points to self-inquiry and the understanding of your true nature beyond the ego. By avoiding the addition of new vasanas, you lessen the ego's hold. It is like cutting off the ego's supply of reinforcements. So inquire, know yourself, and be always free and at peace.
These videos help bring Ramana Maharshi's teachings into your direct experience. Subscribe now